We're going to take a look at Dean Howard. Oh, right before we take a look at Dean's portfolio, I'm going to answer this question. This is kind of important to everyone, I think. Is it good to rest a bit once you land a job? I would suggest resting between 6 and 8 months if you've really been like pushing to get that portfolio looking good, because you're already going to be growing a ton at work and you're going to be learning a whole lot already on the job. You know what I mean? So there's no sense in trying to push your portfolio. What you should do is chill, relax, enjoy the spoils of portfolio battle. I don't know if you want to call it that, but and then come back to it with a fresh mind. You don't have to be grinding away constantly anymore. Oh, Maru's stoked about something. But yeah, on to Dean's portfolio. So Dean Howard from Edinburgh. Let's take a look here. Dean, let me just make sure I'm reading all the stuff here. Cool. So so you want to get into props. So what we're looking at here is we are seeing props, which is good. I would say probably the most. Let me look at the bone sword real quick here. The most advanced thing we're seeing right now in your portfolio. Oh, that's kind of cool. The chain on the inside. It's the whip variation. Oh, there's variations. Oh, that's cool. So the sculpt looks pretty sick. I would say the scale on the little band pieces here, like the little leather wrap, maybe it could be wider, just so you really get the feeling of the wraps and you understand the scale a bit more. They look pretty small when you look at it like a skull in comparison to it. But it looks pretty sick. I would say that one and this hero sword are probably one of the more or the two advanced things on your portfolio currently. Oh, nice. Going off a concept as well. Highlights and shadows. Yeah, so you're really pushing like the stylized workflow where you're texturing in the highlights and whatnot. Okay, so this review might be a little short, but I just want to highlight some of the main things that I'm seeing when it comes to what I'm seeing in the portfolio currently. Maybe I can turn my camera on because we'll be looking at this shot for the most part. Well, that's such a weird camera pan when it comes in. Yeah, so we're seeing some props, we're seeing some weapons. You're definitely focusing on props, which is good. I would say that you need to be kind of honing your direction towards a specific direction. Right now we're looking at props, but we've got some weapons. We've got these small canisters, which are really, they're quite simple, right? Like I would know how to like you get a cylinder, you bevel the edge, and then you get the modeling on the inside there. This is 2 years ago as well. Which is this one? 9 months and 6 months ago. This one is showing a lot of the techniques that you've been learning over the years, or during the time that you've been modeling. So maybe let's say 2 years. I'm not sure when you started, but definitely focusing on material definition. So let's say, for me, my personal opinion on growing and kind of pushing yourself is really understanding what you're building and then texturing it in the way that it is in real life, right? So I know that you're doing some creative stuff where you're creating your own designs or your own ideas. Try making something that you can reference in real life, especially if you can see it in person. Taking pictures, really understanding what it'll take to model it to make it look right. And then, like everyone always messes with me for this, but I always say if you can build a fire hydrant and texture a fire hydrant and it looks like a fire hydrant, then you're doing pretty good, because you're having to deal with the complexities of paint and paint chipping and exposed metal. There's some pretty unique shapes that have to be handled in geometry in order to kind of get that look as well with a fire hydrant itself. And then you're having to deal with metal versus paint, so you're having to deal with roughness as well. I'm trying to think if there's some other really nice, like, machinery, not like crazy machinery, but it could be as simple as like just the nozzle controller that splits the cold and hot water going to your shower head, right? Like, you've got different types of materials there. Maybe there's some rubber elements as well as some like fake metals, or maybe there's real metals. Did someone say fire hydrant? Why did I do this? Why did I say that? Um, an airsoft gun or air paint gun. Yeah, I mean, it's if you can find a real life object that's got three different roughness values, so like a metal, a plastic, and a paint, that's gonna be super nice. Or it can be metal and paint, and then there's dirt on it or mud on it. You're gonna get different roughness properties going on those surfaces that you're really gonna have to kind of push. I mean, even like a mic arm and like the pop filter on the front of it, and you're gonna have metals and fabrics, and really pushing the PBR understanding of yourself further is going to be key. And I think with your modeling as well, like with the bone sword and the hero sword, the modeling is pretty good, especially the bone sword here. I don't know if you made like an optimized version of it. Let me see here. High poly. Yeah, so the low poly, it looks like was decimated, and I think for this area, this is probably, that looks about right if you wanted to have that type of fidelity. Back here, oh wow, that's crazy. I don't know where those hands come from. That's kind of terrifying. But yeah, back here, these would probably all be baked in. You would like Dynamesh those all together for the low poly, and then they would all melt together, right? And then you could decimate that down, or build some loop low polys over the top of this whole thing, and then you'd be pretty good to go. I'd probably manually build this whole area leading up to here, and then a decimated version, and just kind of work on welding those together in a clean way. And then really understanding the materials, understanding the textures that are going to be applied to them. What does a bone material do? How does that bone react to lighting? Does it require subsurface to some degree? Like, what's the roughness of bone material? Is there like gems in those eyes? It looks like there's some type of like an emerald. So understanding what those materials are going to look like, and just really kind of figuring it out, is going to be really important. So making real life props are a good way to get better at materials. Yes. But yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to what I'm seeing skill level wise, I think you're intermediate, or like beginner to intermediate on your modeling. Like, this stuff is becoming much more advanced, and it looks like you're using ZBrush, so that's pretty showing some nice skills. But your texturing is just not gotten there yet. And I think you need to have an asset that you can relate to in real life, that you can build to help get you over that line, and then you'd be pretty good. But yeah, if you have questions though, Dean, DM me on Discord if you have questions about any of the feedback, or like what some resources that I can point you towards to like push those things together and forward, and I'll help you out. Cool. Okay, I'm going to switch over to this view. Thank you, Dean, for showing us your portfolio. That's honestly, it's probably one of the harder parts about doing what we do, making game art, and is putting your work in front of people and just getting used to hearing feedback, because good feedback is constructive, right? If people are like, "Oh, your stuff's trash," then those people aren't useful. I mean, sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm tough. I can take what you say." But if they just say it just doesn't look good, they're not giving you valuable feedback. Like, I need to know why it doesn't look good. I want to understand it. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate that you've posted your portfolio. As with everyone, putting your neck out there and having it feedbacked live in front of people is a big deal, I think. And you should be proud of being able to pull that trigger and not stress about it. And if you are stressing about it, now it's over. And it's become much easier. You can do it again, and it's not even going to be as bad this next time around. You know what I mean? But cool. All right.